Hello, hello, hello. It's your Chief Business Educator, LaTonia Monroe Naylor. And I just decided I had to check in because I was thinking about some things that I've talked to some folks about recently, some conversations that were had. And I said, you know what? I think I need to have a conversation with you all about distractions. So before I jump into identifying some barriers to your business breakthrough, I want to remind everyone about my book, Mission Rich and Profit Powered. Yes, you can get the book if you are someone who has not already got your book. You can definitely get your book. The information is at the bottom of the screen, missionrichandprofitpowered.com to get your signed copy, or you can go to Amazon and purchase a copy as well. Some folks like to get it quick, so hey, do what you got to do. I completely understand and I completely respect that. And so, as we're jumping into distractions that can cause detours, Now, the reason why this is important is that many times we are dealing with getting to that point of wanting to break through and not realizing why we can't break through. And so the first thing that I'm going to bring to your attention is the detours. There's so many things that happen to get us off course of what it is that we need to do in our day to day, what it is that we need to say, how we need to say it, how we need to do it. And at the end of the day, we will find ourselves in a situation where we feel there's an impending breakthrough, but nothing is happening, nothing is changing. And that is not okay. It's not okay because as a business owner, you have a bottom line that you have to meet, or guess what? You basically a volunteer. And ain't nobody got time for that. I was watching that video the other day. It was like so funny. Anyways, so I said that to say that we need to identify some detours that come up in our life. And the first thing that happens, and many of us can relate to this, is fear. Now, fear shows its ugly head up in so many different ways. But most importantly, is the reality that when fear shows up, we have to have a plan for how we're going to respond to that fear. Now, let me give you an example. As you're venturing into your business, there are often these situations that may arise, right? Number one could be people telling you that this is who your market is. This is who it is that you need to tend to. This is who it is that you need to serve because that's what they want you to do. So fear could set in where, oh my God, I have always done it this way, or this is what people expect of me, so I have to do it this way. And if I don't do it this way, then what are people going to think? What are people going to say? Fear. Another way that fear shows up is fear can show up through people that we love, people that we trust, people who we've pretty much aligned ourselves with. And as we continue to move on in business, we realize that the people that we thought were going to be true to us, the people that we thought would go along with us and grow along with us, are just not having that mindset to grow with us. We grow apart, or we have to make very tough decisions to say, hey, you know what? I can't do this. Not because I don't love you, but because I have a journey that I'm trying to go on and you don't want to go. So I got to do what's best for me and what's best for my family. I got to do what's best for this plan, for this mission that I put in place, because this is why I always bring people back to your strong why. When you have a strong why, then it helps you to be able to part ways. It helps you to be able to make the time that you need to make so that you can prioritize the things that are very important. And so that fear of what people are going to think, that fear of being accepted, that fear of having to find a new network because the network that you were in either wasn't the right network or isn't conducive to the business environment that you're trying to create, or the culture that you want to have in your business, or the mission, or the target audience. There's so many different things that come into play. The other piece where fear can come in is just the fear of actually being successful. Because so many of us that are on this entrepreneurial journey have come from a place where many would consider as the gutter, the bottom, the struggle. The struggle is real, right? And so you go through these different situations and you're used to struggling. You're used to figuring out, how am I going to stretch the money? How am I going to get the bills paid so that I have food for my kids, or have the car paid for, or make sure that we can get into a home that's comfortable or in a safe neighborhood. So there's all these pressures that are on you because you're working your way up and you're used to the struggle. But then when you get to a place where you're actually successful, or you've reached some of your goals, and I want to say some, because there's never should be a place where you stop because you've arrived. Once you get to that place where you stop because you've arrived, you're probably not having the same mindset that you started out with, because the drive and the strong why that you have actually puts you in a place where, hey, I actually want to make sure that I continue to grow and that I continue to thrive. Very important. It's very, very important for us to be able to identify what some of these fears are. Now, I know that I did not cover all of them, but what I do want to say when it comes to fear is that you have to have a way to combat your fear. For me, it's my faith. My faith always combats my fear. Now, I'm not saying that I haven't gotten into situations where fear hasn't almost captivated me, but what I am saying is that when fear arises, that you have to have a plan. It's much easier for you to make very difficult choices or very uncomfortable choices when you have a plan in place, a marketing strategy, having done market research, having an understanding of who your strong circles are, right? That we talk about in the book. For those of you who don't have it yet, you need to get it so you can know what I'm talking about. And then there's also this reality that when you plan for things, then as the unknown starts to happen or occur, you're already prepared for that thing. So even though it's something that you've never been through, even though it's an uncharted territory, you are prepared for it. You have mentors or people that are coaching you through the process so that you can see that somebody else has already achieved it. No, it has not happened yet for you, but you recognize that it is possible because you see it. Now, while I'm talking about coaches and mentors, I want to remind you that you may be an expert of some things, but you are not an expert of everything. When you get to a place where you feel like you don't need anybody to help you, you don't need anybody to tell you anything, you know everything, then you really need to step back. Watch a couple of the live streams ago where I talk about the ego. I'm not going to get into that tonight. So I want you to be mindful of that there are people that can help you, right? And you should invest. And the reason why I say you should invest in people is because you're going to want somebody to invest in you. I have a very hard time dealing with people who want you to give to them and they're not willing to give to somebody else. When I coach people, when I consult with people, when I train people, they're not just getting the information that I have learned through my own experiential knowledge or through my own education or certifications. They're also getting the things that I've learned because I've invested in people that know more than me. And I've enlarged my network. I've stretched my network because I have been very intentional about making sure that I can prepare for when the fear is going to set in. Okay, so having a plan helps when that fear comes in. Having a spiritual, mental, emotional practices in place to prepare for the fear so that that anxiety doesn't cause you to stand still and get overwhelmed. The next thing that we're going to talk about is focusing on others. Hello. Now, I want to say that even though I'm giving you 4 things, this is not the end all be all of distractions that can occur in business. Okay. And also, I want to say this is not in any particular order of importance. For some people, the 4th thing that I'm going to mention may be the biggest issue that you have. So don't make it seem like fear is number 1. It has to be number 1 for everybody. It's just one of the things. So the second thing is focusing on others. Now, there's a song that my daughter listens to a lot, and the song is Focus on Me. And all of y'all who know the song know what I'm saying. I'm not going to sing it because if I sing it, you probably be like, click. So, focusing on others. Now, there's a time and a season for that, right? Your partner, your children, certain people, certain time, you do need to focus on them, right? Because it shouldn't be all about you. We're not selfish, we're mission rich, right? So it's not all about us. However, focusing on others in this context as a distraction means that you are paying more attention to what other people are doing than what you should be doing for yourself. So this can happen through this word that people don't like to reconcile with or resonate with, but it is a real deal. Jealousy. Jealousy creeps in a lot of times because we're looking at what other people have. We're looking at whether or not they're prospering. We're looking at their business. We're looking at their business model, how they do what they do, who they target, and all of those things. Now, let me tell you something. The reason why this is a danger is that your unique abilities that you have no bearing at all on what someone so is doing. Now, you may look at some people and learn some things from them, some tips or whatever. Okay. But when you're paying so much attention to somebody that you start to mirror exactly what they're doing, you start to talk the way that they talk, you steal their posts off the social media. And I'm saying this because I've seen people do it. That is not okay. Create your own people, create your own market. There are billions of people in the world. And guess what? Even if you only got a very small percentage of the billions, you would still be very successful in your business. Okay. We're not all going to be Amazon. We're not all going to be Apple. And that is perfectly okay because some of us don't want to be Amazon. We don't want to be Apple, right? However, at the end of the day, it is very important that we understand who we are, what our SWOT analysis looks like, what our business plan looks like, what our strategic plan looks like. And in order for you not to get distracted by people and focusing on them, you have to have a plan for yourself and what you do. You have to know your strengths. You have to know your weaknesses. And then being able to plan for how do I deal with my weaknesses? Do I delegate? Do I bring someone on my team? Do I get training? Is it worth me getting training? Should I just contract out? Should I get a vendor to do these things? But that doesn't happen if you're so busy focusing on other people. You have to focus on your own self and your business and what you need to do for your business. Okay. So stop focusing on other people, focus on you. Okay. Because what really will happen, and I promise you this, and I say this from experience, know this: I do not share things that I have not experienced myself or observed and or had shared with me through my mentors. Okay. And the reality is that there's so many times where jealousy seeps in, and it's very difficult in this day and time not to have some wonder of how people are doing or why or what, because at the end of the day, social media is always blasting us with the positive stuff that everybody is doing. Yes, they're not. No, who in their right mind is going to show you how bad their business is doing? They're going to show you all the great stuff that their business is doing, right? And that's fine. That's good marketing. But that doesn't mean you sit around focusing on them, because I guarantee you the things that you don't know that they're working through are the things that you're not going to know how to deal with because you're not them. You don't have their problems. You don't have their same issues. Okay. So stop focusing on other people. I can go on and on about that. I won't, but I wanted to make sure I made that clear. The third thing is fumbling. As you gather by now, all of these are F's, the 4 F's. That's what we're going to talk about today. Yes, that's what we're talking about. So fumbling. Anybody who plays football knows exactly what fumbling is. Anybody who watches football knows exactly what fumbling is. Now, this simply means you're dropping the ball. You're not paying attention to what you need to pay attention to. You're dropping the ball. How does this happen? This happens because we're taking on more than what we should be taking on. We're trying to do too much at once. We are not pacing ourselves. We're not cognizant of what our real capacity is. And so we will overbook ourselves with appointments. We will overextend ourselves. We're not getting enough sleep. We're not taking care of ourselves. We're probably not tending to our kids or to our family. We're probably not giving our loved ones the attention that they deserve or that they need because we're dropping balls everywhere. And that's not okay. Now, the key to this is that when you are fumbling, when you are continuing to drop things and overbooking and overstretching, these are very big warning signs for you. Pay attention to the warning signs. Whenever I get to a place where I'm dropping things, I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, why? Why am I doing this? Why did this happen? Oh my God. Okay, I'm not using the software, or I'm not using it properly, or I need somebody to help me in this situation, or I overextended myself. So one of my things that I do is I do taxes. So I have a good number of clients that I service every year during tax season. And every single year, for as long as I can remember, it would be crunch time in tax season, and I'm literally at 11:58, like still submitting people's taxes because I took on every and anybody who said they needed their taxes done. I talk to people and I say to them, look, you need to do this, you need to do that. And people will say, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And I keep having pop ups, they're distracting me. So people will come and they will want me to do their taxes. And I, because of my mission rich self, my heart, my mind, I will take them on because I'm like, oh my God, they gotta get your taxes in. Oh my God, they're gonna have an extension. They're gonna have to pay a penalty. They're gonna have interest. And I would feel so bad for people. And then I would take it on, and then I'm stressed out at the very last minute. So this year, I took my own advice because let me tell you what happens with many of us mission rich entrepreneurs, mompreneurs, busypreneurs, you name it. We decide that everybody else's problem is our problem. And I have been talking about this. And again, gonna throw a commercial in about the book. I talk about it in the book. And I'm like, wait a minute. I can't tell hundreds of people, thousands of people about how they need to not be martyrs and overburning themselves and overextending themselves and burning themselves out to the brink of exhaustion. And here I am letting people do it to me every year. So this year didn't happen. This year, I stopped taking any additional clients for taxes about 2 weeks before tax season ended. And I did not, regardless of who it was, and there were some people that I love dearly, that I had to tell them sorry. I didn't say sorry. Don't apologize for setting boundaries. I didn't say sorry. I said I had to. I'm no longer taking any more clients until after the 15th of April. After that point of time, I am more than happy to take additional clients. And so they respected that and they appreciated that. I was very straightforward with them because I already knew what was going to happen. I was going to take on extra people and I was going to be wearing myself out. And so this is very important. It's extremely important that you identify, yes, you're sometimes your own worst enemy. As a matter of fact, you probably are your worst enemy. Because we will often call ourselves setting boundaries, don't set the boundaries, and then we're flopping all over the place and we're mad at everybody else because we made a choice to give ourselves too much more to do, things that we don't have the capacity to do, ignoring time when we need to take it off, ignoring the fact that we need to go to bed at a certain time because you need to be able to get rest. Now, I know that there are times where certain times of the year you might have deadlines and stuff that you have to do what you have to do to get them done, and I understand that. But when that becomes an every day, every week, every month thing, you have to really look at your systems, look at what you're doing, and ask yourself, why am I allowing myself to continue to do this to myself? I should not do this. It's not okay. It's not good for my business. I'm dropping balls. People don't trust me. People don't believe I'll hit my deadlines. People don't see the value in what I do anymore because I am overextending myself and I'm fumbling everywhere. Fumbling is a major distraction for your business and your growth. Major. Because if people don't believe in what you do, they're not going to hire you. And if people don't hire you, guess what? You don't make money. Last but not least is failed assessments. Now, I told you I was stuck on this F thing because I had the 4 Fs. And I was trying to find a word that meant misprioritization. And I couldn't find one. So I decided to make up one. I made up a phrase that I saw somewhere. And so failed assessments lead to misprioritization. Now, why is this important? Because if you don't prioritize, again, distraction. It seems so easy to say, sit down and create a plan. And then you're like, yeah, LaTonia, when am I going to have time to get a plan done? Hello, running a business, working overtime, don't have time for that. And I get it. I do. I completely understand. And I feel you. I feel you. I do. But guess what? It doesn't matter. Because if you don't get these things in order, these distractions are going to kill your business. I don't want you to be in the 50% of businesses that fail in the first year or the 80% that fail within the first 5 years. I don't. I want you to be successful. I want you to prosper. I want you to see your revenues increase. I want you to have net profits. I don't want you to be profit poor. I don't want you to be overstretched and burning out and feeling like, why did I ever start this journey? What was I thinking? I don't want you to do that. But that is exactly what will happen if you continue to not prioritize the things that need to be prioritized for when they do and how and why. And one of the ways we combat that is we look at how much time is it actually going to take me to do a project? And if you don't have the time to do this, hire somebody to do it for you. It's the best way I can tell you. It's the best use of your time. Hire somebody to come in and do this for you, because if you do not understand what this means to your business, there's a value on your time. There's a value on everything that you do. And if you are spending time on something that you could easily delegate to somebody else, you could be costing yourself thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars. You could be costing yourself $500,000. You just don't realize the detriment that this can cause to your business. It's a major distraction not knowing what things should be first or second, or what vendors you should be reaching out to, or what research should be done, or what market could be the market that's really the one for you, that's going to help you prosper your business, multiply your business, expand your business, who those connections are, what conferences you need to be at. Like, all of those things are important. And a lot of times we misprioritize because we don't see the value of what it is for our return on investment, or for our mental or emotional security, for the legacy of our family. We don't see the connection of it because we're moving too fast. So we just do what we can when we can, instead of what needs to be done when it needs to be done. Now, all of these things are great, right? And you're like, LaTonia, I love it, all that you're saying. All these things make sense. But at the end of the day, I cannot figure out how to free my time to be able to do these things. And this is where I'm going to have a hard talk with you. And I'm going to ask you a very important question. Is your business success more important to you than your ego, than you doing things the way you've always done them, than tradition, than status quo? Because if your business is not more important to you than that, then yeah, stay doing things the way that you do them. But if you realize the value that you bring to this earth through the work that you do, if you realize the gift that God gave you, in order for you to do this, you have to step back and find time and put it in your schedule where this is what I'm going to do to work on my business. During tax season, it was very difficult for me to do that. And it's at the beginning of the year, so it slowed up some of my stuff that I had to do, but I was doing it in little pockets. But I tell you, for the next couple of weekends, I work on Saturdays and I take Mondays off. So on my Saturdays when I'm working, let me tell you what's going to happen. LaTonia will be working on her planning and her strategies going into the next year, not next fiscal year, next year. So I will be working on my strategies and stuff that will be working me into 2025. Okay. My plan is to have half of 2025 done by the end of this month. Why? Because if I don't do that, how am I going to be successful? So I want to say that. How am I? You got to plan. You got to make it work. I put self-care into my schedule, time off into my schedule, travel for educational purposes, travel for speaking engagements or what have you. I have all of that configured into my schedule, and I have to expand on that, because if I don't expand on it and I don't see where the numbers connect, then I'm not going to be successful. Now, if you want to learn more about how to do that, then I would suggest that you sign up for the Mission Rich Academy, because I do work with folks to help them to do that. It's very important that you have that in place. And as we get ready to close out today, I just want to remind everyone to register. If you haven't already, register. So there's my contact information. Reach out to me. And then also, I want you to register for my grant masterclass. Grant strategy masterclass. That was so interesting how those words didn't want to come out. It's more than grant writing. It's about a strategy. And strategies are what get you to a place of being attractable and a place where you're profit powered. So I want you to sign up if you want to learn more about that. And also reach out to me if you are interested in being able to better understand how to put together these plans to deal with these distractions that come to hinder your business. Woo! I hope you got something out of this. I know it felt good giving it out, and I felt good listening to myself, remind myself of the things that I have to continue to do, because it's not just about telling other folks to do it, but we have to be the first partakers and we have to do it as well. So I thank you for listening. And I know that there are many out there who are like, LaTonia, I am mission rich and I want to be profit powered. So let me talk to you, girl, so I can learn more about how to do that. And I am here, my staff, we are waiting for you, and look forward to hearing from you all. So with that, I say goodbye. God bless you. Have a good rest of your day and dispel the distractions. All right.